Welcome to Bear Download. I'm Rich Campbell along with Dan Wiederer. It's Thursday at Hallis Hall, and we heard from Mark Trestman, Jay Cutler, and Jimmy Clausen about the Bears' change at quarterback. Dan, a huge day here in the franchise's overall direction. And what a stark contrast, as you mentioned earlier, between January 2nd of this year, Jay Cutler in a suit, smiling, the organization committing to him $126.7 million as part of a 7-year contract today, talking about being benched at the end of a 5-9 season.
Talking about not only being benched, but the idea that he may not be here in 2015 or beyond, realizing that that's out of his hands and that there are a lot of decisions that have to be made in this organization, and he may not be part of their future plans anymore, which is incredible when, as you mentioned, just last January, he was signing that 7-year extension with so much money and with so much promise that the Bears saw in him. Obviously, things have gone way south this season. Another huge news day out here, and it feels like that's been nothing but that in the last month and a half with everything that's happened with this team.
Right, and as far as the decision goes, didn't really get a ton of answers. Why now as opposed to a week ago when maybe the Bears would have had 10 days to prepare for the Saints on Monday Night Football, and what the breaking point was for Mark Trestman. But what we did learn is that it was Mark Trestman's decision. He said he has the support of Phil Emery. Hard to believe that there's not just disappointment everywhere in the building based on what the resources that the Bears have committed to Cutler and the expectations overall.
Well, no question. And Mark said that obviously he relayed this decision to Phil Emery, who's his immediate boss in the GM's chair, but he would not go so far as to say that Phil agreed with the decision. And you got the sense that there may have been a little bit of division there, a little bit of discord, whatever you want to call it, that those two were not on the same page with this. And that's just where we are at this point in the season. A lot of people trying to figure out what went wrong and who's to blame. The question for me is not just who's to blame, it's who's to blame most, because those are the decisions that are going to have to be made when the season ends a couple weeks from now in Minneapolis. Right now, Jimmy Clausen's going to start a game against the top scoring defense in the NFL. He's going to be thrown to the Lions literally. And then obviously the Bears have to figure out what's next with Jay Cutler. And as much as Mark Trestman can talk today about this could be a turning point for Jay, that he can come back stronger from this and regroup and revive, obviously, Jay said today that he's not feeling too revived right now, and that there's a long healing process for him to really start to get back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, and Jay said that he would like to stay in Chicago and that he does believe he can continue working with Mark Trestman. But of course, the subtext there is Mark Trestman going to be back, and who's going to be making these types of decisions? It's all going to play out probably in the next 2 weeks. We've got a little bit more time to see through the end here. I think Sunday's game is more interesting personally because I'm interested to see Jimmy Clausen against the Detroit Lions. Obviously, though, that's sort of a just temporary diversion from what
it's something new. But as you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of subtext in the coming weeks, so don't make any New Year's plans because we're going to need to be on call for whatever may happen here at Hallis Hall.
I think Dan just volunteered. I think I'll be out. All right. For Dan Wiederer, I'm Rich Campbell, and that'll do it for Bear Download.